All right, guys. Want to tell you a little story. Back in April of 2025, ZRL was doing their season finale, season championship, finals, whatever you want to call it. The team that I was on at the time, as I've mentioned before, we won. With one of the stages in particular, and I really want to emphasize, go check out JD's video. He did a fantastic job of breaking down the race by race dynamics of what caused us to win. But what I wanted to touch on specifically is the points race. On Breakfast Crits and Grits, where I myself took the second most points for my team. Now, the guy who took the most amount of points for our team is on a different team this year. So he and I will be going head to head, high-fiving, brothers at arms, because we still race on the same ladder racing team. But for ZRL, we're on different teams, and that's fine. That just means we know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and we know how to push each other when we need it most. Now, arguably, the Breakfast Crits and Grits course is a harder course. And the reason why I say that is because not only do you have the 4 rounds around the Bray Breakaway, but you also have the Segura Climb and the Clyde Kicker and the Castle Corkscrew, which is, pretty tough. And then the route back towards the Segura the second time around is a good distance of uphill to include the castle. Now, the course we're on this time around, Fine and Sandy, is not going to be a cakewalk. It's got its challenges. But, and this is what I wanted to get to in this video, if you're going to win, then this is how I suggest you race. This is how I'm going to race. And so I know I talked with Casual Creations about this because I love his recon video. There was something he mentioned that I was like, ooh, I ought to, that sparked an idea of me making this video. And that's, if you're going to win a race like this, a points race, what do you need to do? Now, this is me personally speaking. Our team strategy is going to be what it is. I'm not going to divulge that because you guys don't need to know that. My strategy personally, and how I helped effectuate a win in a previous team. Not just a single race win, but multiple race wins. When it comes to point races, FTS, in my opinion, is not something you want to go for. FTS is hard. You have to have an immense amount of power to get FTS points. And at the end of the day, you're talking about 10 points down to 1 for the 5 riders that achieve it, or whatever the point structure is. And so if you're someone that gets dropped early and you have the power to get the FTS points, then go for it. By all means, go for it. But if you're a strong enough rider and you're going to hold on, and I'm going to make you hold on, because I'm going to show in a little bit exactly what my goal is with this race, then don't worry about the FTS points. Worry about getting across the line in as high a placement as possible. It's still going to take work. It's still going to take effort. I guarantee you that. I'm going to make it as hard as possible. And so this is where we jump into the race tactics. Now, this course almost completely starting off in a climb. And actually, out of the pen, you basically are climbing to the boardwalk. Once you get onto the boardwalk and cross that, and you hit the gravel climb, that's, as you'll see in other recon videos, not that far into the stage. You're talking about maybe a few minutes. And so if you're not warmed up, it's going to hurt right off the bat. If you're going to use that as a warm-up, because you got into the pen late, because you got your bike or computer on late, or Zwift updated on you, or you're recording and OBS decided to update on you, whatever the reason is. That first climb is going to come quickly, which means the pain is going to come quickly. And so my goal is to hit that climb and complete that climb holding somewhere between 5 to 6 watts a kilogram. And that's me. That's for my size, for my abilities. Some people are going to be able to do more than that. Some people aren't going to be able to do more than that. And I can tell you right now, if you're not going to be able to do at least that, that climb's going to hurt. But that doesn't mean you're going to get left behind. Once you get over the bridge, now I would recommend, once you get to the top of the bridge, keep going until you start seeing the negative numbers. Because once you start seeing the negative numbers, then you can use that momentum to kind of get some rest before the sprint, because the sprint comes up very fast. Get some rest before the sprint, and then get ready to go all out again. Now, there are some people that are going to be able to get over the flat part and then keep pushing. You want to hold on to those people if you're going for FAL points. Because if you're not going for FAL points and you're just looking at, hey, maybe I'll take the, points at the end of the stage, fine. Like that works too. But if you're going for FAL points, hold on as long as you can. Stay with the front. If you're going to sprint, then do what you need to do to sprint. I am perfectly capable and okay with sprinting off the front. I'm perfectly okay and capable of sprinting off the back. I can tell you right now that my max speed that I've ever hit sprinting on a flat sprint is 62 kilometers an hour. If you can't sprint that fast, then I need you to know that you're going to either do really well on my draft, or I'm going to fly past you so fast, you're not going to be able to latch on. And I know that kind of comes off as kind of arrogant, but I will put examples of when I've done that in the video. And so that's going to be the first handful of kilometers of the race. And then we got enough flat to settle back in, bring everybody together, which I highly recommend bringing everybody together. Let's moderate the pace. Some people are going to want to go off and do their own thing and split the group and end up in a breakaway. Sure, that's fine. Those are the people that will maximize the FAL points. But if you're looking for just a single top 10 in any of the segments, then you only really have to stay with the front group for that first climb and the first sprint, and really do well on that first sprint to get, a good placement in that FAL. Now, second sprint, like other people have mentioned, go check out Casual Creations, JD, anyone that's done a recon video. Sand is treated as pavement. So the pace is going to be high-ish. Now, where I say ish, I mean there are spots in the race where if you're not careful, what's going to happen is the terrain's going to elevate, people are going to stall out, and then it's going to slow down, and then you're going to have people that are going to push forward hard and potentially create a breakaway, or you're going to have the whole group kind of stall together, And then the sprints are going to start at a slower speed. Again, for me, that's fine. I'm okay with that. I can start a 60 kilometer an hour, full speed sprint at 20 kilometers an hour. I can pick up speed that quickly. And so if that happens, you got to be prepared for it. You got to make sure that you're in the right equipment, right gear. If you got virtual gear or, physical gears, you want to pay attention. Know that that's coming. If you have HUD turned off, might be a little bit harder. If you're using sauce, might be a little bit easier. But I guarantee you that those little spots in the race will slow people down. And it's going to cause people who are on the front to potentially drift back. Or if you're in the middle or in the back, potentially drift even further back. And people that are on the back that are anticipating it, and they get up off the saddle for a couple pedal strokes, shift up a couple gears for a couple pedal strokes. Now all of a sudden they come from the back all the way up to the front, flying through the group, and then they stop and kind of almost launch a parachute because they don't want to be off the front wasting watts. They want to be in the middle of the back, saving watts. And so those are the things when it comes to those little non-flat spots that you want to watch out for. And then we get to the sprint, get through the sprint. It's not very long, couple hundred meters, no big deal. I would suggest for those that are going for the sprint, especially for sprinting off the front, you need to start your sprint early. Not at the line, not after the line, early. 50 meters, 100 meters, 200 meters early. I can sprint at full speed for 400 meters at a minimum. A little bit harder to do a little longer than that. So I would say it's kind of best case scenario, 400 meters, I'll hold my sprint. And if you're not prepared to do that, again, it's going to get a lot harder for you. Now, that's just the first lap. After that second sprint, we quickly get up to the climb, go back over, and it starts all over again. Now, us having to do that in our pen, because I'm in the C pace group category, in the Go division, for our pen, because we have to only do that 3 times, it's gonna hurt. And like I said earlier, I'm gonna make sure it hurts. I'm gonna make sure we go fast. I wanna make sure that I don't walk away feeling like I could have given more, but I didn't. Now, some people might think, oh my God, he's taking this so seriously. It's a game. Sure. After that third round, we go back, we go over the hill, we hang a right, and now we're on our way to the finish line with about 1 kilometer and change to go. Get a slight uphill, then it flattens out again, and then as you're getting into the final sprint, the lead up to the line is an incline. And so again, if you're not in the right gear, if you're not going the right speed, if you don't have enough power by that point, because stages like this, especially with multiple laps, that climb up that gravel, corkscrew, roundabout, whatever you want to call it, whatever it's called, on Mech Island, that climb is going to take a lot of effort out of people, hurt a lot of legs. And so by the time you get to the finish line, my legs are going to be hurting, everybody's legs are going to be hurting. There's probably going to be some people that could do this, back to back and be fine. I'm not saying I'm the strongest person in the group, but what I will say is at, anywhere between 10 to 12 watts per kilogram sprint, all out sprint speed, and my 10-second average is over 1,000 watts. My 15-second average is about 900 and change. And my 30-second average is about 800 something. So I've got a pretty strong sprint. And there's going to be a lot of strong sprinters in this group. Like I mentioned before, I wasn't the strongest guy on my team last time around, and I know I'm not going to be the strongest guy on my team this time around. and I know I'm not going to be the strongest person in the peloton this time around. So I expect sprints to be very hard, very fast, and fun for those that like sprinting. And so as we get towards the end, it's going to be hard. If you don't go early, you're probably going to miss out on FAL points. I'm not going to say at what distance I'm going to go, because the reality is I don't know if I'm going to have the strength to go 400 meters. Especially with the undulations towards the end, that makes it really hard to get momentum going, because you lose it very quickly when you're building up speed, building up, putting a lot of watts down to get over the hill, even though it's at, I think those little climbs are like 2%, not even anything significant, but it's just long enough, just high enough to slow you down, make your trainer go from what feels like 0 to 100 really quickly, and then you can't turn the pedals because you go, in my case, I sprint somewhere in the, I can hold a good sprint around 70, 80 watts, or 70, 80 RPM. I can get into almost 100 RPM, depending on the gearing, depending on the sprint dynamics. I try and adjust accordingly. But my average sprint RPM is in the 80 RPMs. And so when you're going that, according to, mainstream cycling, slow in terms of pedal speed, those little hills will drop me to 40 RPM very quickly. And that hurts. That makes it very hard. And so finding the right spot to launch a sprint to maintain your cadence and power can be difficult, because as soon as you get over that, your power drops significantly because of the difference in elevation. Now your trainer's going from 100 back to 0, and then it's got to figure out, I got to do this all over again. Got to reverse thrusters and go back up. And so when it comes to tactics, when it comes to racing strategy, the reason why I'm sharing this is because I know for those out there that want to race, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to race. This is what's going to make the race worth it when you walk away at the end of the day. When you say, hey, I gave it my all. I gave everything I had, and these are the results I got. And so I would suggest, if you plan on being competitive in this race, then do what I'm going to do. Race hard. If you don't want to be competitive, or you're not a sprinter, the way you make this race hard if you're not a sprinter is hold 4 watts off the front and make everybody work. Make everybody chase you down, hold onto your wheel, and survive, so we don't have the legs to climb every time going up that Mech Island climb. And this is power-up agnostic. Use your power-ups accordingly, depending on what you get. I know aero's going to be a bigger factor than the steamroller for most people, but I've been in races where I got more steamrollers than anything else. And so, power-ups aside, I think if you know your abilities, then you will be able to race to your advantage and enforce that on other people. Don't let the peloton, don't let someone else determine how you race. You set the tempo for how you want to race and make others work to your tempo. That's how you're gonna win at the end of the day. And so, again, just wanted to share that because I've been through this before. I've seen what it looks like to race hard and compete and win. I'm not saying that's going to be how things roll this time around. Our team right now is in second place. Z-Sun, Mr. Casual Creations, definitely gave us a run for our money on the TTT, and I commend them on that. I think they did a fantastic job. Thanks for sharing that video, because now I know what we're working with and what we're working towards. So like I mentioned to him in the comments, I was going to create this video because I want him to see what he's going up against, and what we all are going up against. Not just me, myself, but I know there's other racers out there that are as strong as I am, if not stronger. And so I know what to look out for. I know what to expect. So wanted to share my experience, and hope you guys enjoyed that, and I will catch you guys on the next race. See ya.